Bwindi, a visit to the park. Dawn in Africa. Here in Kabale, Uganda, a crested crane joins the dawn chorus. A group of environment teachers have chosen to wake early for a visit to Bwindi Mountain Gorilla Park. The van, with a group of teachers, heads north out of Kabale town. Kabale lies close to the border with Rwanda and DR Congo. Half an hour later, the group stops at a misty watershed, said by some to be the source of the River Nile. Next, the road swings west, and after a few miles, the van turns right onto a narrow local road. Here, their second stop, there is a view looking northwest over the arena, a misty, foggy, marshy area below. The arena marsh is fed with water from Lake Banyonyi, but there is no exit for the water from the arena. Beyond the arena to the right is where the group are heading, climbing all the while. From here to the park, there is always a steep hillside above the road to the right and a steep drop to the left. Most of this hilly area is covered by terraced farms where families eke out a life by growing their own food of bananas, maize, beans and sweet potato in order to survive.
Get that, I think. Beautiful.
The third stop is to see a community centre. This has been built as part of the cooperation between local communities and Bwindi Park. These centres often have a primary school, a health clinic and a new road. The road becomes more precarious and the group finally reaches the boundary of Bwindi Gorilla Park. There is a sharp line between the farmland and the gorilla forest. This valley of farms used to be a gorilla forest itself. Population growth has caused a huge loss of vegetation, an ecological disaster. The population continues to grow, and the survival of people around the forest has put huge pressure on the park that could make the park disappear. To mark the boundary of the park, cypress trees have been planted. The gate to the park is 1 kilometre into the forest. The teachers persuaded the guards that they had permission to visit the park. This was confirmed by a wireless telephone call to the park office. Nelson, who knows the forest, points out things of interest, and the group see monkeys and birds. The van turns off the road onto a track to visit Nelson's mother's canteen. They return to the road. This valley is a favourite route through the forest for the gorillas. The teachers descend to a stream at the bottom of the valley. Here they stop at a bridge over the river. The forest vegetation was dense, with tall trees, bushes, lianas, and gigantic ferns. By the river was a host of butterflies. The gorillas and other larger animals avoid the road and the edge of the forest. Later, the teachers emerge from the forest and head west to Bahoma and the Bwindi Park office. Bahoma is the main centre for tourists and is not far from the gorilla tracking area. At the park office, the teachers meet Phoebe, a community worker, and William, a park ranger. These two arranged for the group to sit outside to question and to discuss the working of the park, the work of the Bwindi Mountain Gorilla Park. There is a great variety of terrain and life in the forest, and its biodiversity is world famous. The high steep slopes and dense vegetation gave it the name the impenetrable forest. Phoebe explained that the forest and people were here before the forest was made a park. To develop the park, the authorities needed to involve the local communities. Now there is a representative from each of the local parish communities on the park's advisory committee. Funding from the park has provided communities with schools, clinics, and roads. There are many problems facing the park. Every so often, refugees cross from the Congo to escape rebel groups. On rare occasions, rebels have crossed the border themselves. The latest local incident came in 1998, and more recently in 2013, when a rebel group crossed the border to the south near Kasoro and surrendered in the Makahinga Mountain Gorilla Park. Traditionally, the local communities have used the forest for firewood, charcoal, fruit, meat, building material, medicines, and for beekeeping. Any close contact to humans and their domestic animals may lead to disease in the park, such as scabies. Forest fires are infrequent, but do happen when intruders to the forest make fires. Some locals set snares to catch wildlife, and occasionally a gorilla is snared. When a gorilla is injured or ill, a government veterinary surgeon is called in. There are 40 rangers in the park, and most are in local substations around the forest. Their main activity is patrolling and protecting the forest. Some of them are armed. The rangers follow illegal paths to find and arrest trespassers. The main reasons to protect the forest are to preserve the ecological treasures and to promote tourism. There were about 300 gorillas in the park in 1997, and this increased to about 400 in 2011. So this success is good, but saving and increasing the gorillas might need the forest to be larger. The count of gorillas is by counting their groups and families. This involves visits to each group homeland. The characteristics of each older gorilla will be noted. The count takes a large number of rangers to follow a group. For this reason, the count is planned for every 3 years. Counting the overnight nests of gorillas and looking at droppings and hair helps to identify babies and the condition of the group. It takes about a month to count a group, as they are always on the move. The name silverback is given to fully grown males. The future of the mountain gorilla is precarious as the population of the gorillas and of the people increases. There are already signs of local children becoming malnourished as farm plots become smaller with the increase in population. This information comes from the Chile Children Project that finds and helps disabled and orphaned children in this area. The cooperation of local communities is vital for the gorillas to survive, but for how long? Worldwide, various organisations are involved, including the World Bank and a number of wildlife trusts.